Okay. Man, sorry, Biff.
The band still will perform at the Cotton Bowl tomorrow, where the Bearcats play in a college football playoff semifinal against Alabama. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
Are you traveling? Working a little bit too much? Is your fur baby starting to get a little shaggy? Let Dirty Paws be your one-stop shop for all of your pet care needs. Stop in and see us at 202 18th Street or give us a call at 304-639-7754 to schedule your appointments for dog grooming, doggy daycare, and dog boarding today.
With all the madness in Washington, Senator Manchin never stops fighting for West Virginia. He's protecting workers and our families. Senator Manchin, thank you for fighting against higher taxes and inflation. Gas and groceries are expensive enough. Call Senator Joe Manchin and thank him for fighting for us and opposing bills that will raise prices for West Virginia families. And ask him to never stop fighting for West Virginia. Paid for by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and supported by the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce.
Frio Stack and Associates Auctioneers, Realtors, Certified Appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack and Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack and Associates sells the earth and everything on it.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, January 8th and 9th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is only $7 and kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. Oh, by the way, they also have a great assortment of knives. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com or give them a call at 724-948-3571. Once again, that's 724-948-3571 for more information. The Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, January 8th and 9th.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts. The best in live and local talk returns momentarily on the Watchdog.
Hello, everyone, from the Watchdog. I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy with occasional showers, a daytime high near 57. Rain likely on and off through the overnight, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a low near 43. Mostly cloudy skies with a high near 57 for your New Year's Eve. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Here we go.
What is happening?
What's going on? What's going on?
It's the end of the year. We are all fried.
This is that end of the year rush.
The end of the year.
The end of the year. It is.
Already?
It really is.
Where has the time gone?
Where has the time gone?
It's the end of the year. People get nostalgic.
What are you waiting for? New Year?
Should all acquaintance be forgot?
See you next year.
And all anxiety.
It's showtime.
On FM, on AM, online, on demand, and on video. We are where you are. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe is here now.
Yeah, where did it go? Where did it go? 2021 almost done. Happy New Year, my friend. It is our final show together before the end of the year. Biff and I are wishing you and yours a happy new year, a joyous new year, a good end to 2021, and a great beginning to 2022. But before we wrap up the year, we have some things to do today. Coming up in this hour, we're going to talk about second chance hiring. Here in Wheeling, we have several businesses that do that, second chance hiring. Ziegenfelder is one of the best examples. Giving applicants who have blemishes on their record a second chance at a job. Author Jeff Korzenick has talked with second chance employers around the country, and he'll tell us what he found. We were talking last hour with Stephen Adams, the Ogden newspaper chain, about the top stories of the year in West Virginia. Coming up later on in this hour, we'll talk about a few more of the top stories of the year across the country with our friends from ABC News. We'll look at some of the people and subjects we were Googling this year, and some of the top tweets of the year we will get to. I was ranting earlier this morning about a ludicrous example of PC run amok. A school in Rochester, New York has banned jingle bells because jingle bells, the bells on the horse-drawn sleigh, could remind people of the bells around the collars of slaves. I think that's stretching a point. I was a little upset about that. If you want to catch my rant, it'll be up on our podcast page coming up a little bit later on this morning. If you have something you want to get into the action on, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600 is the Watchdog Radio Network text line. 304-232-8255 is our CityNet hotline. Feel free to use it if you would like to. 45 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 43 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 43 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. It's a foggy morning. We might see a few light showers continuing for another hour or so. Otherwise, it'll be a cloudy, calm day. 52 for the high today, 57 for tomorrow. New Year's Eve, we'll see some showers late in the day on New Year's Eve and a lot of rain during the day on New Year's Day. That's what you have to look forward to weather-wise. Then we turn cooler beginning next week, kind of get out of this almost spring-like weather we've had and get back to more wintry weather. Before I get to my guest, I want to talk briefly about COVID here, bring up to speed on a few COVID matters.
COVID-19 update.
The latest wave of the coronavirus pandemic may hit its peak towards the end of January, they're now saying. If it follows the pattern they're seeing in South Africa, after hitting its peak in January, it might subside fairly quickly. That's good news. That's a projection of Dr. Anthony Fauci on CNBC yesterday. Now, he pointed out the virus is unpredictable, so you have to be careful in making predictions, but that's at least what seems to be happening in South Africa. The trend will go up. We'll hit it in late January of next year and then subside very quickly. The U.S. is now averaging more than 181,900 new COVID cases every day. 3 COVID cases are diagnosed every second, according to the Johns Hopkins University data. Of those, 73% are the newer Omicron variant. Now, the good news is Omicron is not as intense as the other, as the Delta and traditional COVID. So Omicron is indeed accounting for most of the cases across the country right now. Not so much in West Virginia yet, but across the country. But Omicron is not nearly as bad. The governor of Georgia has called on the National Guard to help overwhelmed healthcare staff there. Other states that have called on the Guard include New York, New Hampshire, Indiana, and Maine. In West Virginia, nearly half of our counties are red on the COVID map from the DHHR. 3 counties are green, clear and straight ahead for 3 different counties, but 26 counties are in the red. They do include the counties of Ohio and Marshall County. We are in the red, so be aware of that on the DHHR map. Active COVID cases in West Virginia moved above the 9,000 mark yesterday in the latest numbers from the DHHR. 9,478 cases in West Virginia yesterday. 18 additional COVID deaths yesterday. So as we've been talking about the year in review, COVID clearly has been a big part of our year gone by, and it's going to be a big part probably of at least the beginning of 2022. I hate to, as Dr. Fauci said, it's so unpredictable. I hate to make any predictions. We thought, certainly back in June, I think we all thought that this was pretty well over with. The CDC recommendations were you could take off the mask, and I scheduled a big trip for the first time in a couple of years, and by the time the trip came, it was like everybody has to wear their mask again. So, geez, who knows? Who knows? All right, 9:16 here on the Watchdog Morning Show for a Friday. Again, our last day together before the holiday weekend. So, a couple of things I want to get into before we're over and done with. I want to talk about second chance hiring. Now, this is something that we are somewhat familiar with here in the Upper Ohio Valley. In particular, Ziegenfelders in East Wheeling makes a big deal about second chance hiring. They give people who have drug problems, who have criminal background problems, a chance at a job. They're big on second chance hiring. There are other businesses here in town that do that as well. Jeff Korzenik has taken a look at second chance hiring. His book is called Untapped Talent: How Second Chance Hiring Works for You, for your business, and your community. And I want to talk about this whole concept with him this morning. Jeff, good morning. Welcome to our show.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on.
I have a basic concept of the second chance housing or second chance housing, second chance hiring, and your focus to a large extent is on people who are incarcerated. But let me ask you sort of an overall question. First of all, as you have gone around the country and talked to people who engage in second chance hiring, are they doing it because they think it's morally a good thing to do, or is this something that the labor shortage has brought about, that there's a need for people who have to go deeper into the pool?
There's a wide range of motivations. For some, it's a religious conviction. For some, it's on the other end of the spectrum. It's purely they tried everything else to solve their labor shortage, and that was the only choice. I will say, overall, in the American business community, the past year has been an awakening on a number of fronts. Number one, the labor shortage, which was coming because of demographics, is here and got accelerated by the pandemic. And I think number two, there was a realization after the George Floyd death that something is not quite right with the U.S. justice system. And the combination has made it very fertile ground for businesses looking at giving people with criminal records a second chance.
Part of the premise of what you are looking at in this book is that it's not just a hiring issue, it's an equity issue as well, right?
I focus on the business case, but we benefit in so many more ways from this societally. But for me, it's got to stand alone as a business case that this is a viable pathway to talent businesses that you can use, because otherwise it won't work. You simply can't scale it to the size of our problem.
All right, let me answer the question a lot of listeners are thinking right now. Hiring ex-cons, hiring people with criminal backgrounds, hiring people who have had serious problems in the past. The question is, does it really work? Don't they end up causing more problems than they solve?
So I'm very clear in my research has shown that there's a pathway to making this work, but you have to follow a specific pathway. And that pathway is just common sense, treating just to size this issue, 19 million Americans in the United States have a felony conviction on their record. So of 19 million, not all of them are going to be viable employees. So you approach this as you would any other talent pool. How do you find who's ready to be a good employee? And then also critical to this population, how do you make sure that you are providing the resources that they need in order to thrive as employees? So your listeners' instincts are correct. Not everyone is going to be a good employee. You can't sugarcoat this, but you have such a large pool to start with that you can find millions who can be very good employees.
Does it not create more problems for the employer? I'm not talking about, does it simply not create more problems? They have to filter this a little more aggressively. They might have to provide more, I'm not sure what word I want to use.
Well, I get your point. I'll share with you, in Akron, Ohio, is a great company, Relink Medical, that has about a quarter of their workforce is second chance. And what their CEO has been wildly successful. He's a serial entrepreneur, very, very wealthy, successful businessman. He said, second chance hires are more work up front, but they're worth it. So employers have to go in understanding there's going to be an investment in these processes, but the trade-off is not just you solve your labor shortage, but when you find the people who are ready to turn their life around, all the data show that they are exceptionally engaged and loyal employees. So you have people who really care about doing a good job, and they are loyal to you and stay in place. Not only do you save on turnover costs, these tend to be your most productive employees, and that's a recipe for profitability.
I actually believe in second chance hiring, so I'm asking some negative questions just because I think it's important to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess you've answered this. Don't people who come at this with a criminal background create more problems than they solve? Have you seen businesses that have decided it wasn't worth it?
Absolutely. A lot of businesses go about this in the wrong way. Either they think of it as, well, I guess I'm going to lower my standards. Well, if you don't go looking for talent, you're not going to find it. Or quite commonly, you'll have businesses that are trying to give people a fair chance, but really don't understand the needs of this population. And the overwhelming characteristic of people who go into prison or get a felony conviction for the first time is that they are young and that they are poor. So often the accommodations that you have to make have to do more with poverty than having a criminal record. There are some that have to do with a criminal record. People who've come out of prison, say, typically have to meet or have a felony conviction with a parole or a probation officer. They need flex time to do that. You don't give up hours. You make them make it up at another time, but that kind of flexibility is part of it. But more typically, it's the basics of dealing with people who have no history of good history of work in their families, don't know how to navigate basic problems like transportation, or what to do if your car breaks down, or how to take criticism from a supervisor. All of these things can be taught, and if you find the people who are willing to learn and are eager to learn, then it's a really good investment for employers. So I never sugarcoat any of this. There are lots of ways to do this wrong, but there are some clear pathways to do this right.
If you have a business listening right now, what are the suggestions for how to do it right?
Well, it basically starts with developing a referral pipeline. Typically, you want to partner with workforce development or reentry nonprofits, sometimes with the state prison system, that can help you identify who's really ready to turn their life around. It's hard for an employer in the course of a typical interview process to really assess someone's character. These nonprofits, if they're doing their job right, can be a valuable referral source. Even probation and parole officers can be referrals. And just like anything else, businesses love to have good referral sources. But then you really have to partner or have an HR team that understands what are the special needs that this group might have that you hadn't thought of. Need for professional business clothing, need for housing. And it's not that the business has to provide all these things, but they have to have relationships with community partners that can do this and are more than willing to partner as well. So there are things that you can do. I always recommend you get your HR people to go take the SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management, the big trade association for HR professionals, has a certificate program called Getting Talent Back to Work. Obviously, my book's meant to be a resource. There are a lot of resources out there that can help people do this the right way, in a way that makes sense from a business perspective.
You have to have a buy-in by your entire business, though, right? I mean, I can't help but think at least a company that may be beginning second chance hiring would find other employees, current employees, very skeptical about this. You've got to get, I'm guessing, and tell me if I'm wrong.
No,
I'm guessing that get a buy-in by everybody.
Well, not everyone, but you better have leadership from the top. The top has to make it very clear, not only that this is an expectation, that they will have a more inclusive hiring policy, but also have some concrete goals to meet that. Very often, particularly true of the really large companies out there, you'll see a CEO will sign on to a pledge years ago about fair chance hiring, but the message never really gets down to the ranks. So it does require focus and leadership at the top, but then it also requires, it's important that you focus on this message very clearly. It's one of the things I do discuss in my book, of course, is how you message this right. One of the things that I've seen is very successful is, say, Kroger grocery stores, one of the largest employers in the United States, started a New Beginnings program, and they started with a trial of 200 people in Ohio, and it's now spreading nationally. And they don't talk explicitly about people with criminal records. They just say people who have been marginalized from the workforce that might include challenges of addiction, homelessness, or even criminal records. So you give that kind of broader picture, which I think captures what these businesses are trying to do.
When I hear phrases like, concerns about inequitable hiring, when I hear phrases like poverty is at the root, and all of these things, I tend not to think of an investment banker, which is what you are.
Well, you can't. So my day job is I work for a major commercial bank in the United States, and my team, I lead the team that sets the asset allocation and investment approach for about $45 billion. So yeah, I do have a full-time day job, but it really intersects because you can't understand investments unless you understand the economy, and you can't understand the economy unless you understand what's going on in the labor markets. And for years, we've been saying the American business community has to start preparing for the coming labor shortage. And it started to be very visible in 2018, 2019, and then, of course, the pandemic accelerated it, largely because older baby boomers have elected to just drop out of the labor market early. Just yesterday, I believe, the St. Louis Fed came out with an assessment that 2.4 million Americans retired early during the pandemic. So these are some of the reasons we're feeling this terrible pain, but it was coming all along.
It isn't directly tied to your book and to second chance hiring and so on, but give me a little more explanation of why you think we are seeing this trend of people not wanting to get back into the workforce. I mean, it's been debated quite a bit over this past year.
Sure. There's no single answer. You have to break it down into various parts. So you have the older baby boomers who had more reason to be fearful from a health perspective of going back to the workforce. And the reality is, and we all know this, and those of us who are of a certain age like me know that if you lose your job in your 60s, it gets very hard to get back in the labor force, and you tend to come back in much more marginally employed and with a lot less income. So a lot of those people chose to retire early. There are parents who elected to have one of the parents drop out of the workforce, typically the mother, in order to watch children who couldn't go physically to school and were doing online learning and needed extra supervision. And people, adjust to that lifestyle, and some don't come back. I think the business community can do more outreach there and provide more flexibility to try to bring back parents where one used to work and dropped out. And then there's this big mismatch, what economists call reallocation friction. Your old job in the department store that you lost may no longer be there, and now the new job available is in the Amazon warehouse. There's a skills mismatch, and if you lost your job early in the pandemic and you've been out for a long time, you've got to make some tough decisions. You have to go into a new field. You might have a longer commute. You might have to accept less pay, and people don't want to make tough decisions until they have to. And in many states, and of course nationally, we had augmented unemployment benefits that persisted until September in many states. About half the states gave those up in June, and those allowed people to put off making those tough decisions. Now that they're being forced to make those tough decisions, we are starting to see some better dynamics of people coming back to work. But it's a whole host of issues that are out there.
It seemed to me, and this is just anecdotal on my part, that a lot of folks, having sort of withdrawn a bit from the workforce because of the pandemic requirements, have kind of decided that maybe their quality of life is something that's more important to them than getting back into the old rat race. Now, that may be simplifying it, but I certainly have seen and heard a lot of that.
I think some of that is more talk than reality. People said, well, I had a lousy job, I don't want to go back to that. But if you didn't further your education or get technical skills allowing you to change to a more lucrative field, I think you'll see people go back to those jobs. But there is, particularly when you have two-income households that went to one-income households, typically to watch over children, a lot of those have decided that there's a lifestyle choice. There's been some surveys done of people who have left the workforce, and the number one reason that they have left is because they already have a working spouse. And so that is part of the dynamic lifestyle issues for sure. And then there's just the reality. Economists have long known that when people stay out of the workforce for long periods of time, it just gets tougher and tougher to get back in. We saw that after 2008, 2009. We had millions who had been unemployed for years. That's happening again. And so there's some continuing challenges as people will likely continue to drop out of the workforce. Baby boomers continue their march to retirement, and all of that's going to put more stress on this labor shortage. The message that I keep giving to the business community is this labor shortage may get a little bit better over the next few months, but it's not going away and ultimately will get worse.
Jeff, I appreciate your time this morning. Jeff's book is The Untapped Talent, How Second Chance Hiring Works for Your Business and the Community. I appreciate the work you've done. I appreciate your conversation this morning. Some really good insights here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much, and thanks to all your listeners for tuning in.
All right. Have yourself a happy new year.
Same. Thank you.
9:32, 28 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Jeff Korzenik is the guy's name, Jeffrey Korzenik. The book is called Untapped Talent, and it's interesting. Again, we've seen some of this around here because we have second chance hiring in some places, but he takes a look at how it impacts across the country and some of the trends that are going on and so on, and looks at some individual businesses and companies. So check into that. 9:33, 27 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show, heading into the home stretch of not just today's show, but of our year's show. Biff, can you believe it? This is it. We've got about 27 minutes left to go until we say goodbye to the audience for a whole year.
Well, it'll go quick. It's the weekend, and before you know it, it'll be Monday, and we'll be back for a new year and a new week again.
And we'll jump right back into things. Monday, we're going to talk here on this show about an effort that Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott and the Vice Mayor in particular have been pushing in the city for a change in zoning ordinances that would allow what are called accessory buildings in a residential neighborhood. You could put up a second building in your neighborhood, on your property. You could rent it out. You could put your parents or grandparents in there or what have you. Currently, under a zoning code that we put into effect a number of years ago, and I was involved in preparing that zoning code, we felt that the residential neighborhoods ought to be for, well, people who live in their homes and not to be rental property as well. But the mayor and the vice mayor are really pushing hard on changing that. We're going to start talking about that from several different perspectives next week. Monday, Wheeling Councilman Ben Seidler is going to join me, and we're going to talk about that. Also next week, we are rapidly coming up on the anniversary of January 6th. Is there going to be another event of some kind at the Capitol? Likelihood not, but who knows for sure? How concerned do we all need to be about the growing divide in this country and the kind of activity we saw on January 6th of this past year? Our political analyst, Matt Robeson, going to join us next week to talk about that. Just a little look ahead at some of what I've got coming up for you after the holiday break. Right now, we'll head to the news desk of Metro News, check some headlines for you, and check some sports. And then we'll head into the home stretch of the Watchdog Morning Show for Thursday.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News.
For the permanent position. So I'm basically appointed as the interim until such time as the mayor and the selection committee can receive applications.
Read more at WVMetroNews.com. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Carrie Hudasek.
Metro News Sports, good morning. I'm Kyle Wiggs. Marshall opens Conference USA play tonight on the road at Louisiana Tech. Marshall is 7-6 and has lost 3 straight games. Louisiana Tech's Kenneth Lofton is 6'7", averaging over 18 points and over 10 rebounds per game. Louisiana Tech is 9-3. Marshall's Tavian Kinsey is averaging 19.7 points per game, second in Conference USA. Kinsey and Lofton are the numbers 2 and 3 scorers in the league. Louisiana Tech is 7-0 at home this year, and it's won 22 of its last 23 games at home, although Marshall handed the Bulldogs their only home court loss during that stretch last year. The 11-1 Mountaineer basketball team was scheduled to open Big 12 play with a 2-game trip to Texas and TCU. That trip will be shortened as Monday's scheduled game is the third that's been affected due to COVID concerns within the TCU program. A game at Texas Southern scheduled for last night is canceled. TCU's Big 12 opener against Kansas, scheduled for Saturday, is also postponed. Now the Monday game against West Virginia. The Mountaineers still plan to travel tomorrow to Austin to play the New Year's Day game against number 17 Texas on Saturday. WVU women's basketball team had a game against Maryland Eastern Shore, scheduled for Wednesday night, canceled due to COVID concerns with the Maryland Eastern Shore program. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. College Bowls Wednesday night, number 16 Oklahoma beat 14th ranked Oregon 47-32 in the Alamo Bowl. Kennedy Brooks ran for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns. Caleb Williams threw for 3 more scores. Number 19 Clemson defeated Iowa State 20-13. That was the Cheez-It Bowl. And Maryland blew out Virginia Tech 54-10 in the Pinstripe Bowl. From the Metro News Sports Desk, I'm Kyle Wiggs.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy all types of real estate completely as is. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
With all the madness in Washington, Senator Manchin never stops fighting for West Virginia. He's protecting workers and our families. Senator Manchin, thank you for fighting against higher taxes and inflation. Gas and groceries are expensive enough. Call Senator Joe Manchin and thank him for fighting for us and opposing bills that will raise prices for West Virginia families. And ask him to never stop fighting for West Virginia. Paid for by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and supported by the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce.
Attorney Tom McIntyre.
Life. It may knock you down, but you don't have to stay that way. I'm Tom McIntyre. I'm a bankruptcy attorney, and I'm here to help you. Give us a call, and we'll send you a copy of my free book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. It's an interesting read, and it'll explain bankruptcy to you like no other book does. Give us a call. We're here to help.
Call Thomas E. McIntyre and Associates at 304-232-8600. Allow us to help put you back on the road to financial success.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
Toyotathon is on, making now the best time to reserve one of the all-new additions to the 22 Toyota lineup, like the first ever Corolla Cross, with available all-wheel drive and more space and efficiency than ever, or the all-new redesigned Tundra with uncompromising full-size power. Visit your Toyota dealer today or go online to buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals. But hurry, Toyotathon ends January 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
Frio Stack and Associates Auctioneers, Realtors, Certified Appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack and Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack and Associates sells the earth and everything on it.
Sports Map Radio is on all night long. Tune in to get up to the minute sports coverage on FM 98.1, AM 1600. We are the Watchdog.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is MSN, the Mountaineer Sports Network.
A 3, call the Star City Fire Department.
Catch all the action.
Another steal, takes it to the bucket, slam, dunk.
All season long.
He rainbowed in a three-pointer, takes the ball toward the basket, pulls up for a jumper in the wind. It is no good. West Virginia wins it.
On your home for Mountaineer basketball.
Broadcasting from the Ohio Valley, talking about the Ohio Valley. We're live and local. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Coming up after the 10 o'clock news break, it is Statewide Talk Line. Hoppy Kirchner will be here among Hoppy's subjects. The top sports stories of the year in West Virginia. Joe Bricado of Metro News Sports will be on hand to talk about that. Also, the executive director of the Cardinal Institute of West Virginia. It is a right-leaning think tank talking about the demographic numbers for the state. Hoppy will be chatting about that. Michael Tomasky is in. Michael is a West Virginia native, editor of the New Republic. He's a progressive columnist. Unusual for Hoppy to have progressives on the show. Nah, not really. He does a pretty good job of that. Tomasky has written the book, If We Can Keep It, How the Republic Collapsed and How It Might Be Saved. He's going to be talking about what he sees as the big news stories of the year, and also, does he think democracy can survive? That's coming up today on Statewide Talk Line. And then a lot of talk about COVID today on Hoppy's show. General Hoyer will be in, head of the State Interagency Task Force, with an update on the COVID testing and so on. Fairmont State is not going to allow spectators to their games right now. Their athletic director will be on hand to talk about the COVID restrictions at their athletic events. That'll be coming up today on Statewide Talk Line as well. Hoppy gets underway at 10:06. And, you know, in our year in review segment here, let's take a look at some of the COVID stories that have been big this year. This was a year with lots and lots of rallies over COVID. Our ABC News team takes a look at that.
It's his favorite way to campaign. Big crowds and a sea of red MAGA hats. But as COVID-19 spread across the country, President Trump's campaign rallies were put on hold, at least for a bit. Against the advice of health officials, Trump restarted his campaign rallies in June with an event in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Let's open the schools, please.
The rally required attendees to sign waivers and took place indoors. Masks encouraged, but not required. One of the attendees was Herman Cain, who was seen at the rally without a mask on. While it's not clear if he contracted COVID there, he tested positive 9 days later and died just weeks after that.
And a dear friend of mine, Herman Cain, he was a very special person.
Trump's rallies would continue through the summer and into the fall, adjusting for COVID by often being held at airport hangars, but crowds were rarely socially distanced, and often attendees were seen without masks. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
The President Trump mentioned their schools. He said, let's open the schools up, open the schools up. School shutdowns were another big issue of the year this past year, primarily related to COVID. From ABC News, Michelle Franzen takes a look at the school shutdowns.
Let me get that. I didn't have that one.
It's my fault. I called an audible, Biff.
Yeah. I'm going to try this here. Wait a minute. Let's go this one.
For kids and parents, it was on again, off again school since this pandemic began. Students bouncing back from in-classroom to full remote when coronavirus cases crept to higher levels. As we learn more about the virus and collected data, Stanford University infectious disease specialist Dr. Yvonne Maldonado explains what we've learned about the classroom risk.
When schools are well equipped and well supplied and able to keep children distanced and have masks used by staff, teachers, and the children and themselves, that we are not seeing transmissions occurring, especially in the younger children.
That could bring changes during the rest of the school year, especially to make up for the strain on student performance. A study assessment by the NWEA showing nearly 4.5 million students, 3rd through 8th grade, fell behind in math. At the same time, they are keeping a normal pace with reading. Kids adapting, along with teachers, to help make the grade. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
And one final COVID year in review story having to do with the big issue that we fought about, people argued about, school boards had huge arguments about, huge protests about, and this was the year where the mask became somehow the symbol of oppression.
COVID-19 killed hundreds of thousands and overwhelmed hospitals in 2020, but there was one simple tool that could help beat back the disease.
The CDC says universal mask use is critical.
A piece of cloth or a bandana could significantly cut down on the chances of spreading COVID-19. But as health officials started telling Americans to mask up, that gave rise to a still continuing debate over masks, fueled in part by the most visible person in the country rarely being seen with one.
I put a mask on, when I think I need it.
And even after the president himself got COVID-19, the first thing he did upon returning to the White House from the hospital was take off his mask.
To a first-floor balcony, president pausing to take off his mask, even though he's still contagious.
The debate over masks would sometimes involve junk science, but most often it involved the debate over personal freedom.
I believe that we need our freedoms to do as we choose.
But health officials say there is no debate to be had. They say the science is clear. Masks save lives. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
One final story for a year in review I want to talk about before we wrap things up for the year. This was a year that we actually began to refocus on space. Now, some of it was controversial because they were billionaires in space and celebrities in space. But we did have a return to space this year.
After a series of mishaps and weather delays going back nearly a year, astronauts Doug Hurley and Robert Behnken finally got the green light.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
5, 4, 3.
And at 3:22 in the afternoon on May 30th,
0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon.
President Trump said he was in awe as he watched the Falcon rocket carrying the Dragon crew capsule into space.
When you feel the shake, pretty amazing. A beautiful sight, a beautiful ship, too.
Dragon SpaceX docking sequence is complete.
Hurley and Behnken would spend 2 months working on the International Space Station before successfully returning to Earth, proving that the SpaceX technology works. Next up for SpaceX founder Elon Musk.
We want to go back to the moon, have a moon base, and build a city on Mars and be a spacefaring civilization out there among the stars. This is a super exciting future. That's the kind of thing where you're like, yeah, can't wait for it to happen.
Musk hopes to land people on Mars in 2027. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And that'll wrap up our ABC Year in Review segment. We've had a very busy couple of days taking a look back, Soon be looking forward to the beginning of 2022. Oh, there came the cough. Let's go over to the Big 7 WTRF TV and welcome in Brenda Dayhart. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Howard. How are you?
Well, as you can hear, I got a bit of a cough in my throat for some reason.
Yeah, you do. Did that just come on, or?
No, I'm actually the tail end of it.
Oh, okay.
I've had it for a couple of weeks, but it's almost gone. But as you can tell, it is not gone.
Not gone.
Hey, real quick, in connection with my last story, would you want to take a trip into space? Would you want to be a space tourist?
I don't think so. Would you?
No, I think I'm with you. I don't know. Biff, you'd like to go, right? You said you'd like to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to space.
Yeah, a lot of people. I've heard them say that, but I think it would be awesome the way that the sights and it would just be remarkable. But I think it would make me too nervous. I'd be too anxious.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm okay just staying earthbound.
Yep. You and me both.
Airplane flight is enough for me. Airplane flight's enough for me.
Yeah, me too. That's funny.
All right, what are you working on today?
Well, kind of a quiet day before a holiday, but we are talking to actually Dr. Clark Milton, who is well versed in COVID. But everybody talks about COVID fatigue for people who are tired of hearing about it. But what about COVID fatigue for nurses, the healthcare workers that have now been dealing with this for 2 years? So we're speaking to him about that today. DK is over there as we speak. Stephanie did a fun story. Amazingly, every wedding in 2022 is booked at Ogilvy. They cannot take any more weddings. They're done, and it hasn't even turned to 2022 yet. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Yeah. One of hers is one of them, but she started thinking about that, and she called them, and they were like, "Nope, we are done. We are booked, and we are full." So. I thought that was kind of a fun story. And then in Jefferson County today, Collins up there, they're passing out 500 in-home COVID tests. And they expected to have just a huge line, so they'll pass them out until they run out. So he is up that way, and then he's also checking in with the city manager in Follansbee about we're expecting some money to do some water upgrades, and some of the money didn't come through. So he's talking to him about where that project stands as we close out the year and head into 2022. So that's about it today. Kind of quiet right now, but you never know. I don't want to say that because I'll jinx myself.
You've been around long enough to know, Brenda, the quiet days are the ones you really got to worry about.
That's exactly right. That's why I don't want to say it's a quiet day, but some interesting stories anyway. And you said your plan tomorrow night is just to stay home, but be with friends and someone that you always are with. That
order
you
up
hear.
some shrimp and pizza and cheese trays, and just sit around and talk and watch a movie and wait for the ball to come down.
Yeah, I think that's a nice evening. That's my kind of evening anyway. We're going up to my daughter's, as I mentioned, and we're just staying there, having dinner. We're going to go up early, have some dinner and some wine, and then just go home, and we'll watch the ball drop at home.
Yep, that's, again, as I said yesterday, once upon a time, it was a different kind of New Year's for me.
Oh, yeah. I had my share of them, too.
It was a long time ago.
Long time ago for me as well. But anyway, well, Happy New Year to you guys, and I hope you have a great evening tomorrow night. I know we won't be talking to you tomorrow. I'm not here either, and you're not. So we will talk to you in the new year on Monday.
All right, very good. And Happy New Year to you and to all the team over there. We always enjoy working with everybody. You guys you've got a really good crew working for you, and we get a great kick out of working with everybody.
Well, Aaron likes talking to you, I can tell you. Everybody who's been on that early morning shift, they love talking to you.
Well, they have to get used to me, Brenda. I'm acquired taste, but
I knew you were going to say that. Nah, I don't think so.
I've gotten along well with everybody. So going back to Brian and Emily and of course.
Yeah, way back. Yeah. That's right.
Yep.
Well, have a great day, and
right.
We'll talk to you Monday.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye.
Right. Brenda Deinhardt from the Big 7 WTRF TV here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Pretty much puts the kibosh. I'm going to look that up someday. What is a kibosh? I know it's a phrase I say all the time. I hear it all the time. Put the kibosh on that. That means bring it to an end, but I don't know what that means.
You know what you might have to do?
Where did kibosh come from?
Call Hoppy, because I'm sure if anybody would know what it means, he would know.
You're right. You're right.
Just text him and see. I bet he could give you an answer.
Yeah, Hoppy, can you tell me what does it mean to put the kibosh on something? And yeah, you're right. He would know. Well, Howard, I've actually read about this late at night one night. I'll tell you. Here's what it is. All right. Well, Hoppy's coming up next. Statewide Talk Line shortly after the 10 o'clock news break, and then stick with us throughout the day, throughout the weekend. We got some special programming for you tomorrow, and into the holiday weekend. Biff and I taking a day off. You got anything special tomorrow, Biff? Just kind of hang out during the day? That's a special?
Yeah, I'll probably sleep in tomorrow and go to the hockey game the Nailers play tomorrow night. So I'll probably go over there, and then after that, just kind of take it easy and get ready for 2022.
I may go to Chuck E. Cheese today. Teddy and his mom are going to Chuck E. Cheese. I think my wife is going with him. And as he left yesterday, he said, "Granddad, do you want to go to Chuck E. Cheese?" So I'm not sure. I may go to Chuck E. Cheese for the day today. I'm not totally sure. Otherwise, I'll just stick around here. Same thing tomorrow. I think tomorrow's going to be a relaxing day for me. Just sort of take it easy and not do much. Try and get this last bit of a cough out of my throat so I'm not coughing in your ear come Monday. But Biff, Happy New Year to you. It's been an absolute treat working with you all year long. You are the best partner I've had. I really appreciate it. You're such a good guy to work with because you put up with me. And I'll be honest, not everybody does. So.
Well, happy New Year to you and your family as well.
All right, and we'll talk again in 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Good Lord willing, creeks don't rise, bat phone doesn't ring. I'll be back Monday morning at 7 o'clock, and I assume you'll be back with me, Brother Biff.
Back Monday to ring in 2022.
We'll just keep on doing it until we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Positive COVID cases reaching.
All right, Biffy. Got through a year. Yep, got through a day, got through a week, got through a year, so that's good. Seidler on Monday, that'll give me something to work with. Who knows what will happen between now and then. Otherwise, we'll probably come up with something else. And I guess next week we'll get back to. This has been a terrible week, Plus we'll have show prep again. I don't use prep a lot, but I like to keep a couple of those prep stories around for filler. And man, without prep the last couple weeks, I felt. Paul's sort of, they're there, but like their daily little, what they call phone burners, the idea they generate phone calls on, they're like 2 sentences. It's like they got the B team, the C team, maybe the D team working. There's been nothing I could use for the last couple of weeks, so I'll be glad when I can have prep to. So I don't rely on it, but it really is helpful to have. Yeah. Yep. Same open. Yeah. Just one for a week. Actually, one for 2 weeks, really. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back to normal, I think. Hopefully, I'm back to normal. Hopefully, this cough will be gone. I'm slowly making my way out of it, but another 4 days, I should be maybe back to normal, and we'll get back into the swing of things. So enjoy your weekend. Have a good holiday, and I'll talk to you unless you need me for something, give me a call. Otherwise, I will talk to you on Monday, and we'll hope that Bill gets better too. He worries me. Yeah. No, that he really worries me. I think you're right. You know, Bill, though, I'm not sure if they tell him something, I don't know that he gets it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, then to pass it on to us. But I just hope he's all right. And, we'll persevere whatever happens as far as the radio goes, but I just hope he's okay. All right. Well, if you need me, call me. I will be around. I may be at Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know. I had not planned to go, but then Teddy, when Teddy looks at me, Granddad, do you want to go to Chuck E. Cheese with me? How can you say no, So, but I'll be around if you need me for anything. Otherwise, just enjoy your holiday, and I'll talk to you on Monday. All right. Thanks a lot. Always appreciate your help. All right. Bye.
As part of the investigation into what led Lyndon James McLeod, police say, to carry out Monday's shootings. They say he attacked 4 victims at a tattoo shop. Authorities say McLeod knew most of the targets. They're still trying to determine a motive. This is ABC News.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
This is Bill DeFabio, your host of The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio. Heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in and get with the program. I'm Bill DeFabio. Join me for The Variety Show on the Watchdog.
Hello, everyone, from the Watchdog. I'm the storm tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy with occasional showers, a daytime high near 57. Rain likely on and off through the overnight, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a low near 43. Mostly cloudy skies with a high near 57 for your New Year's Eve. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the storm tracker, Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning. Welcome to Talk Line on the Metro News Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded.
We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the Metro News Radio Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful radio show in West Virginia.
This is Metro News Talk Live with Hobby Kercheval.
Check set line up, link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q high.